Hello, my friends. Pearlo Wisdom here. And I today am going to be talking about the New York Rangers and what is their problem. What the problem with the New York Rangers is and whether they're going to make the playoffs or not. When I'm looking at the New York Rangers, I'm looking at New York itself, to tell you the honest truth. Um, their big player that they have is Panarin, right? So how did Panarin get to New York? Um, Panarin started in Chicago. He ended up going to Columbus, and he told Chicago, actually, credit to him, told Chicago that he wanted to play in either LA or New York. And Columbus knew this when they made the trade to get him. That was the reason mostly why uh, Chicago didn't really get much of a return. I think they got sawed back in the deal or something like that. It wasn't the greatest return because Columbus knew they only had Panarin for 2 years, pretty much. They probably were going to try to convince him to stay, I imagine, but he ended up not staying as he said he wouldn't. Why did he want to go to New York? Well, he's got a model wife who has a career and she has her dreams and what she wants to be and what she wants to do. And if you're a model, where's the best place to go? New York or LA. LA would be also a very good one. But from what I understand, New York was the place that he really wanted to go. So he did. He ended up going to New York. He got a big contract. By the way, rich millionaire hockey player, model wife. Man, good for you, my friend. Good for you. Talk about first world problems. Should I go to LA with my model wife? New York wife? It's first percent problems. Anyways, good for you. That's awesome. You've done well for yourself. Right on, buddy. Here's the thing, though. And this is what I find. Fox went to New York because I think he's from the area and he wanted to live in New York, and that's cool. But a lot of players like to go to New York. Why do players like to go to New York and not other places? New York has high taxes. They have colder winters. But what is New York? New York is a place where you can have anything you want at any time. It has everything for a person. And I think a lot of times the reason why players like to go to New York is because of that. It's because you can have anything you want anytime. And they have things that they want to do. And you can't do it in too many places but New York. So, let's look at Panarin just alone for a second. You have a model wife. She's successful. What do models generally do? They generally go to very high society places and clubs and parties with fashion aficionados and all kinds of people, actors and all of that. It's really high society stuff and pretty cool, actually. I'd love to do it. That's great. That's awesome. I'm not saying anything wrong with that. The thing, though, is and I imagine Panarin would likely go with his wife in this as well, right? She's probably not doing it all by herself. And he probably enjoys it as well. The thing is though, how often does he take his team along to these events? Probably never. And the other players on the team probably have their things that they enjoy in New York. And there's a good chance that because they went there because they like to do things that they enjoy, that they generally do it by themselves. Maybe they go together every once in a while, or a couple of guys go together. But how often do they do things as a team? I imagine there's got to be some times where they will, especially when they're on the road. You'll get that. You're on the road. You're going to go do things as a team and stuff like that. But I remember Matthew Tkachuk. He talked about it when he went to Edmonton. And Edmonton, by the way, is a place where this shouldn't be a problem. But he, in between games in the playoffs, he saw McDavid go into a restaurant with four other players or three other players. The four of them went into the restaurant. And in Edmonton, I'm from Edmonton. When there's a pocket of places that you go to if you're going to go to restaurants. And if you're downtown, you can pretty much see if you're looking for someone going in and out. I totally believe this story. And he looked behind him, and every single person on the team was heading to the restaurant. And he said that was the way it was all the time with Florida. Everybody went everywhere together, even at home, even with the wives. They always tried to work out some place where they could all go. And that creates a family type atmosphere. It's togetherness that you build doing that. And I have a feeling that in New York, it's kind of a struggle to do that. Now, they have Sullivan coming in, and I'm not sure how much previous coaches have struggled with this or tried to do that, but I know that Sullivan in Pittsburgh, this was something pretty big there. Crosby was always a person that tried to include everybody, and Sullivan was a big part of that. So I have a feeling that Sullivan's got a challenge here to do something of that nature, to bring a lot of team building and team unity together. So he's going to kind of have to go like, what do you want to do? Do you want to be a team that goes out and has fun and then comes together and tries to be a team, or do you want to build an actual team? I know Barry Trotz used to have these events where it was like team building places where they would all go camping on the road, or all do these leadership like excursions and stuff like that. Maybe Sullivan will do that. But it's something very interesting. So now I'm going to go to, will the Rangers make the playoffs? And because Sullivan is there, I'm actually a little bit on the fence here about it. But we're going to look at the roster, and in the end, we'll see what we're going to decide to choose of whether they're going to or not. So when you look at the roster itself, there's a lot of change here. Kreider was traded, and last year Trouba and Goudreau. Trouba was a bad contract, but it caused a lot of problems. Now, before I go on here, I took the Rangers to the playoffs the year they won the Presidents. I didn't look very good there. But the reason why I did was because they had an extremely high shooting percentage, but they were not a very good 5-on-5 team. Really not a very good 5-on-5 team. And I really thought that, that's not sustainable. If you're winning games, and most of it is based on power play, they also had a very good power play, and just getting goals when you need them at a high percentage of the time, while playing poor defensively and offensively and relying on a goaltender, that usually breaks down after a while. So I picked them again to miss, even after they won the Presidents. And when Trouba was traded, or the whole situation with Trouba, not even before Trouba was traded, and the way they traded him, I think it totally disrupted the happy energy they have there. And I do think they have a happy energy. You're in New York, like I said, you can do whatever you want. So you're probably happy, you're feeling it. You're feeling it. And now something happens, changes the energy, and all of a sudden the shooting percentage goes down, and you're left with what? Because you're not a very good 5-on-5 team. So Panarin, of course, is still a fantastic player. I think he's had the fourth or fifth amount of points in the last 10 years or something like that of any player. Like, he's a great offensive player. And he isn't even that bad defensively, actually. He's about an average 3-zone defensive player, so that's not too bad. Vinny Trocheck, you're not bad either. He's about average average defensively, above average offensively. I wouldn't really call him a number one, but he plays hard. Not a bad guy you have on your team. Alexis Lafreniere, I'm talking about, this is like their top line right now. The thing that worries me more than the offense with Alexis Lafreniere is he really has not grown defensively at all. he plays. He hasn't figured out when to make offensive risks, where he needs to be in the neutral zone a lot of the time. He overplays the puck a lot. He also flies the zone a lot. And that really concerns me more than the actual offense with Lafreniere. Although if you play like that, you should have more offense than you do. He's got all the tools, but not much in the toolbox. So it's pretty spurious top line there. Will Cooley, I mean, you love to watch him play. You love his heart. He's big, he's strong. He's willing to go in the areas and all of those sort of things like that. But at this point, he's probably more of a third liner than a second liner. And they're playing him up there. It's not a terrible thing, but for a team that isn't super deep, it's not the best thing either. Team, he's an elite second line center, I think. He's an elite second line center, an average first line center. So not much different than Trocheck, but I think a little better. If you let him play pure offense, and, just basically say, don't worry about the defensive side of the game. He can put up 100 points like he did in Vancouver. But most players can if you allow them to do that. That being said, he is fully capable of being a good three-zone defensive player. He can be very aware. He's got a lot of heart. He wants to win. He hates to lose, all of those sort of things. And last year, he did pretty well in New York when he got there. So I don't mind that. And then you got Pearlo on the right side. Kid's got a lot of talent, but he's just getting his feet wet here, man. I mean, let's not put too much on this guy's plate. He's going to be a really good player probably down the road. Maybe another 2-3 years, he's going to be very, very good. But right now, he's probably going to have a lot of offense. He's got a lot to learn. And he's growing pains. So, I mean, that's not really a second line that makes you go, woo, wow, we're going to kick ass and win the cup this year for sure. Brett Berard, another guy who's just feeling things out. He's got the right attitude. He's got talent. He's got all that kind of stuff like that. He's got energy to burn. It's great to have. It's great to have a young guy like that, but when you're really supposed to be like a cup contending team, it's a pretty tough spot for a guy like Brett Berard. And Mika Zibanejad, who was a very, very good number one center, or at least elite second line, and was very, very good in all three zones defensively at one time, just slipped horrible last year. I think he's the kind of guy that kind of goes where the team goes. He's not the guy that's going to create the energy. And I think that's part of the reason why they went out and got JT Miller, to give Mika a boost, to get back on the right side of things again. He did get 62 points last year, which wasn't terrible for a bad year. But they're going to need more from Mika for sure. I have a feeling a guy like Sullivan will be good for Mika. I really do. And that's why I'm on the fence here, because Sullivan is a damn good coach. He's fantastic. Taylor Radish, they got from Washington, probably should play fourth line on a really good team. Strong defensively. Very good defensive player. Very responsible. Better on your fourth line, but not terrible to have on your third. But when you got a struggling Zibanejad and a rookie in Brett Berard, he's not a guy that's going to drive a line or maybe even drive your defense. So that could be some difficulties there on that third line. Adam Edstrom, I love him as a fourth line guy. Much like Taylor Radish, has that type of game. Isn't going to produce tons of offense, but he's very responsible. And then Sam Carrick and Rempe, they just go in and try to be physical in the offensive zone. Do what fourth liners do. Matt Rempe is not very good. So it's not a very deep team. But it's got enough high-end talent to be good in the regular season. They have enough offense to be good in at least a good regular season team, I would think, here, with the right system, the right focus, and to gel. If they can truly gel together and commit to becoming a team, something could happen here. Defensive wise, you got Gavrikov is a number one lefty. No doubt about that. Strong defensive defenseman, excellent, good size. Nothing wrong with that pickup. Adam Fox got beat up, I know you by you Ranger fans last year. Just a little side note: at Four Nations, there was whispers that he had a shoulder problem, and that was really kind of more the reason why he struggled than anything. And it proved, I think, to be true. And like I said, I don't have inside information on any of this stuff. I know some inside people, but I generally leave them alone and just try to figure things out for myself. And if I'm wrong about things, they'll usually mail me, Twitter me in my mail and say, you're way off here, blah 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 blah. But I like to figure things out for myself. But his next game after the Four Nations, he falls on his shoulder, and they say awkwardly, but I've looked at that over and over again. There was nothing awkward about it. That looked like a guy who already was hurt, and that landed on his shoulder, and that was it. Just did him in. So he fought injury. He also had Lindgren on his as a defense partner last year, which is just terrible. I'm sorry. Lindgren is just not a good defenseman at all. And a lot of energy, like with all of these guys, the energy was bad last year. Morale was down. I think there might even have been infighting. It was a terrible thing. So Sullivan has a lot to clean up here. But it's possible that he could, at least to get these guys in the playoffs. Carson Soucy and Will Borgen. Carson Soucy should not be in your top four. Just never. Put Braden Schneider there. He's better than Soucy. I think Braden Schneider is going to be a pretty good top four defenseman by the time he's 27 years old. He's one of those guys that is just getting slowly better and better and better. Ever since he drafted, he just gets a little better, little better, little better. He's a smart guy, big guy, can do a lot of things for you defensively. I think he's going to be good, and maybe this is the year that they're really going to try him up there and see if he can handle it. And I think they better, because Soucy can't. He's done. I'm sorry. You got to do something with this defense, because William Borgen, he ain't it either. You cannot have these guys as your 3-4. This is going to be so tough. They're going to have to. Sullivan is going to have these forwards being very responsible defensively, really being smart in the neutral zone, not taking risks in the offensive zone that's going to leave them so they can't get back. That's the way this team's got to play. And Sullivan does play like that. Or does know how to get a team to play like that, is what I should say. So hopefully they do. Otherwise, they could be in big trouble, and they're missing big time. Braden, then you have like William Borgen. He was like a 5-6 in Seattle, and then they came over from the Rangers in the Capo deal, and people are like, oh wow, he makes our defense look so much better. That's a bad thing. William Borgen is a 5-6 at best. 5-6. I'd say he's an average 5-6. He's not a top four. And if he's making your defense look better, you got a defense problem, my friends. And they did. Scott Morrow, super getting his feet wet right now. He's looked like in Carolina, man, he looked like he struggled a lot. He really did. He's got skills. He's got good size. He's got the tools, but he's got a lot of growth to do to be an NHL defenseman yet. And you're going to put him in your top 6 here, it looks like. The Rangers are going to put him in the top 6. Could be a recipe for some serious problems. It really could. Or he could just get it figured out. Put his skills together. You got Brennan Othman. He can come up. I think he's probably going to be a third liner, much like they already have. I don't think Othman's ever going to put up great offense. Like the guys they already have, like that I've already mentioned, Taylor Radish maybe a little better than him, somewhere around that area. And he can fill in a spot. Johnny Brodzinski, he's just done awesome to stay on his NHL path and keep going for it every year. At 32 years old, he's finally got a regular spot, and he looks great. He knows what he is. He's an offensive guy. He gets the energy going. He does everything he can to help the team. Great guy. But really, there's a lot of depth. So if you have depth problems here, there's not too many guys that are going to come in and be able to do a lot for this team. Brendan Bryson wasn't a bad pickup. He's been a career AHLer. Maybe he can find a spark or something like that. But overall, this team really doesn't have much for depth. So if they get into injury problems, there's a big problem. So what am I going to take here? As I'm speaking and I'm talking and I'm saying that I'm on the fence of whether they're going to make it, you got Columbus, who I think got a little bit better. Jersey's going to have Hughes back. I mean, the Metro might be a little better than they were last year. Washington, they don't have the OV bump that they had last year, where it looked like they were all kind of rallying behind him to get that goal, to get his goal. The best. Beat Wayne Gretzky for goal scoring. Jeez. But I still think Carberry's a great coach, and they'll keep those guys in. It's gonna be tooth and nail, I think. It's gonna be tooth and nail. So with that being said, as much as I trust Sullivan, at plus 160, I think you can get the Rangers to miss the playoffs. I'd probably put a little bit on that if I was going to bet anything, to tell you the honest truth. I think it's minus 200 for them to make it. So either I'm doing that or I'm doing nothing. But I'm going to say they miss. I think Detroit's going to be better. I think Toronto's going to be worse. But I think between them, Detroit, Montreal, Columbus, it's going to be between those teams probably who makes it in. It's going to be tight. I'm going to say they miss. Injuries, if Shesterkin goes down, Quick is good, but he's getting old. So that's what I got, boys and girls. You can catch me at Pearlo's NHL POW. That's Pearls of Wisdom, POW, on Twitter. You'll get all my content there. And I'm starting a new little thing going on with the guy who goes by Ron from Steel Flyers. We're going to be doing a regular show. You can watch me on that. We're just working out the details on that, and I might have a couple more surprises for you. Plus, I'll be on the Ice Guys, of course. Voted the best sports betting show in North America last year. And I'm so happy to be part of it. So be watching for that when the regular season starts. Hope you enjoyed it. Tell me what you think in the comments about everything I had to say. Jaime's Body Lube, it's the best. There, I said it. Have a great day, Kate. Bye.